Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to today's episode of Rank the Tracklist. Today we will be doing Iron Maiden debut album. So this will be the first video of the Tracklist ranking series. Technically, I have already done this video a couple years ago of the first video on my channel, which was when I did this with my brother. We planned to do all of the albums, but we ended up only getting to finish the first one because my brother's currently living in Cape Town, South Africa for 2 years, serving a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So I'm really proud of him for doing that. And so those past year or so, he was in his first year of college, and then he had to prepare to leave for that. So we were really busy. Our schedules never really matched up, so we were never really able to finish any other rankings. But I decided it would be fun to complete the Tracklist rankings on my own. So I decided, hey, that sounds fun, so I'll just do it by myself, even though he's not here. So there is a video of that, but I watched back that old video preparing for this, and my list has changed quite a bit. So yeah, let's just get started. So to go over the performers on this album, on vocals we have Paul Di'Anno, bass Steve Harris, guitar Dennis Stratton and Dave Murray, and drums Clive Burr. So this album came out April 14th, I believe, 1980. Let me double check that real quick. April 14th. Yeah, April 14th, 1980. And yeah, this is one of the most important debuts in metal history, is this album. So let's get into the track list. Okay, so I want to start by prefacing this, and I'll probably say this in all of my tracklist ranking videos, at least most of them. I love every single song on this album. This album is honestly a comfort album for me, so I'll turn it on and just kind of let myself go in the music, and I think every song is fantastic. We'll be doing 9 songs, because we're including Sanctuary, because we included that in the album review video I did right before this, so we will include Sanctuary. And yeah, I just wanted to say, if one of your favorites is low on my list, that's totally cool. Let me know down in the comments what your list is, what your favorite songs are. But that's not a diss on the song at all. I think all these songs are great, and if you have any of these songs at number 1, I honestly would not even question it, because they're all great songs. So with that out of the way, let's get into the list. Okay, so for number 9 on my list, this might upset some people. Number 9, I have Running Free. And the reason this might upset some people is because I'm pretty sure this was the lead single on the album. And so, it's like one of the most popular ones on the album, one of the most catchy, which honestly I agree with. I think the song's great. You know, we got the steady drum beat from Clive, and then the bass goes right along with that. Steve Harris' bass playing is great on this entire album. This song is not an exception. The one thing I will note, there is no guitar solo in this song, and I personally love guitar solos, so that's a little bit of a bummer, but there is the guitar break in the middle of the song where Murray and Stratton are dueling leads, which is really cool. That's personally my favorite part of the song. I think it's great. Every person on this does great. Paul Di'Anno has great vocal performance. Yeah, there's really nothing bad I have to say. There's just nothing like super great about this song. I think it's good. It's solid. But one song has to go last, and for me, it's Running Free. So number 8 for me is going to be Sanctuary. Now, I know a lot of people have this higher, and quite frankly, I don't blame them. This song is awesome. From the first main riff, that's super punky. It's so awesome. Really, really punky. And then it like goes through a verse and then cuts out again and has the guitar quiet, and then it kicks in with the band. That part's super, super cool. The solos in this song are awesome. The first solo is played by Dennis Stratton, and the second solo is Dave Murray, and the guitars on this are awesome. Di'Anno has a great vocal performance, of course, as he does on this entire album. Everyone's just on point, and that's pretty much what you get from every song on this album. The performances are great. Everyone's firing on all cylinders. The one thing is, this is not on Spotify, which is where I listen to most of my music, and so I haven't heard this song as much as every other song on the album, and so really for me, the only place for this song to go is up in the ranking. As I hear it more, I still listen to it quite a bit because it's an awesome song, but It's only this low down because I'm much less familiar with it than the rest of the album, but I still think it's great. And honestly, if I were to do this in a year, it might go up a few spots just based on how much I hear it. So, Sanctuary, great song. Kind of wish it was on the album because I think the album flows better. Like when I listen to the '98 remaster, I think the album flows better when it goes from Prowler to Sanctuary instead of Prowler straight into Remember Tomorrow. I just think it flows better when there's two fast songs and then Remember Tomorrow, because Remember Tomorrow has a slow intro. And so, honestly, I love the flow of the album when Sanctuary's in it. So, I kind of wish it was just on the album because I think it makes it better. And the runtime's only 3 extra minutes because it's only a 3-minute song. So, I really don't know why they took it out, which is too bad. But yeah, for my number 8, Sanctuary. For my number 7, we're going with Charlotte the Harlot. Now, I used to have this song at dead last, and I definitely like it a lot more than I did then because this song's great. I mean, honestly, from the fast intro to the great riff in the intro is awesome. The middle section's great where it slows down and you get a great vocal performance from Paul Di'Anno. His vocals on the song are great. I think he does a fantastic job. The one thing I have is the lyrics are not very good. And I think that's partially because of the theming of the song. They're supposed to be kind of silly, like Charlotte the Harlot, show me your legs. I don't know, a bit of a weird line, but you know what? It's okay. I mean, it's all right. The one thing I will say is this is kind of a prequel to 22 Acacia Avenue, which is on Number of the Beast, and that song's fantastic, and they really nail the theme on that song. I think this song's great, though. I like it a ton more than I used to, and honestly, I really don't have any problems with it. I think it's a great song. It's just I like the 6 other songs more than this. So, number 7, Charlotte the Harlot. All right, for number 6, we have the title track, Iron Maiden. I mean, the riff. The opening riff, it's fantastic. It's so good. It's iconic. They play it at every show, usually closes out the set, either the main set or sometimes even the encore. It's got a great chorus. I love the middle section where there's that little bass break, and repeats that a couple times, and then it goes back into the riff starting slow. I love how the riff starts out as one guitar, and then after it's played once, then it's dueled, that riff. I think it's so cool. The riff is awesome, but the one thing I will say is the riff is kind of like the main good part of the song. The chorus is really good as well. The chorus is really catchy. I mean, the verses are great, but the riff is really what you come to this song for. The riff is awesome, super iconic. But I mean, you already know that. It's Iron Maiden. It's the self-titled song to the album that is the self-title of the band. So, I mean, you know what you're gonna get. They played it every show. It's iconic. Some people are sick of hearing it. I personally don't really care. I think it's a great song. So, yeah, number 6, Iron Maiden. So, number 5, I was really sad I had to put this song this low when I was doing this ranking, but I just like the other 4 more than it. So, my number 5 is Prowler, which is the opening song to the record, and quite honestly, fantastic opener. One of the best first songs of a band's career, I think, ever. I mean, Prowler is awesome. I know this was one of the first songs they ever wrote because it was on the Soundhouse tapes in 1977 or 78, I believe. Fantastic intro riff. I mean, that intro riff's awesome. Wow, 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 wow. I mean, just so iconic. The wah riff. I mean, it's great. It's super sing-alongable. The whole chorus verse is so catchy. And the breakdown in the middle is awesome. How it just progressively gets faster, crazier into the solo. Solos are great in this song. I think it's a Dave Murray solo in this song, and it's fantastic. The one thing I'll say about this is it does suffer from the same thing that Charlotte the Harlot does, and that the lyrics are not good. I mean, they're kind of creepy, but this was 1980, so like I kind of understand it, and it's meant to be like edgy because this is punk, or it's not punk, it's metal, but I don't know why I did air quotes around metal. This is a metal album, but they're supposed to be like edgier, like cooler than everyone. So I mean, I get it, but at the same time, the lyrics are not very good. But the rest of the song's fantastic. It's a really, really good song. So yeah, my number 5. Okay, so my number 4. Again, just like my number 5, I really wanted to put this higher because I think this song is great. But my number 4 is Remember Tomorrow. And I know for a lot of people this song would be number 2, just because like I feel like number 1 a lot of people have, but this song is number 2 for a lot of people because it's really epic. It kind of has a slow start, really cool atmospheric start, and then it just goes into the chorus with that riff. I mean, everyone knows that riff. It's awesome. It is so good. I think this song might have the best vocal performance from Di'Anno of the first 2 albums. I mean, he's just wailing on this song, especially like in the last chorus. He's just, his vocals are phenomenal on this song. They're really, really good. Yeah, I just love the contrast of the soft and heavy in the chorus and the verses, and then when it gets to the solo section, it's really, really good. I believe the solo is Dave Murray in the song, and it's a really good solo, really fast in the middle, and then it goes back to soft for the end. Yeah, Remember Tomorrow, fantastic song. It's really, really good. I wish I could put it higher, but there's just 3 more that I prefer. So number 4, Remember Tomorrow. And now for my number 3, I think a lot of people would either have this higher or have it a lot lower depending on what they prefer in a song. My number 3, Transylvania. I'll just start out by saying this is my favorite Maiden instrumental they've done. I think they've done 4 or 5 at this point, maybe. Transylvania is my favorite instrumental they've ever done. It's just so good. I mean, the guitars in this song, I mean, really, the guitars are the highlight of this song for sure, and the bass and the drums. I mean, the whole band is the highlight of this song. But the first solo is played by Dennis Stratton, and then second is Dave Murray, I believe. But I mean, the guitars are just wailing on the song, and then when they're not soloing, they're dueling or doing really cool stuff with the riffs. So I mean, this song is awesome. I know a lot of people don't like instrumentals, and they have it hard time putting an instrumental over an actual song with lyrics, but personally, when I listen to a song, especially if it's Maiden, I'm paying a lot more attention to the instruments than the vocals and the lyrics, even though Bruce Dickinson's fantastic. He's really hard to ignore. And Paul Di'Anno's great too on the first 2 albums, but for me, I'm paying attention a lot more to the instrumentals. So for me, instrumentals, I have no problem with them, and I love them. Transylvania, freaking awesome song. So my number 3, Transylvania. Now for my number 2, I think a lot of people would be both surprised and shocked about how high this song is, because I feel like most people have it in the bottom 3 of their album rankings, and I think that's crazy because I love this song. So my number 2 is Strange World. Personally, I think this is one of the most underrated Maiden songs of all time. The most underrated on the album for sure, but one of the most underrated Maiden songs of all time, period. It's so atmospheric. I love atmospheric songs. This song is moody. Well, ethereal is the right word for it, I think. And the guitar solo in the beginning by Dennis Stratton is just so good. It perfectly fits the moody vibe of the intro, how it's really soft, and then the guitar solo is just wailing over it. It's so good. And then Paul Di'Anno puts his heart and soul into these vocals, man. They're so good on this song. He really is just weeping, and he sounds so good. And then the Dave Murray solo in the middle is just the icing on the cake. This song is so good. I mean, I can understand that, especially if you're into this type of album, if you have the faster songs, you like them more than the slower songs. But man, to me, Strange World is just so good. They nailed the slow and moody atmospheric aspect to the song, and it's super unique on the album, and so I feel like that's either you love it and you put it at the top, or you put it close to the bottom. Personally, I love it. So Strange World going at number 2. My number 1, which I don't think will be a surprise to anyone, is Phantom of the Opera. Now, in my opinion, this is the best song on the album, and even in my opinion, the best song of the Di'Anno era of Iron Maiden. This song is just over 7 minutes, and it does not waste a second of that runtime. I mean, the riff in the beginning is just so good. And then the bass hits that note. The bass in this song especially is just so prominent and so good. Maiden has always been really good at incorporating bass into their songs. Steve Harris, I mean, he's the main songwriter, so of course, but Steve Harris' bass playing is so unique and so iconic, especially on this first album. It's very, very prominent. And this song, I think it's the most impressive in the entire album. So it's just so good. I feel like the vocals that go along with the riff is super technical, and so the vocal line is really quite strange, but I think it works so well. It's kind of a frantic vibe, and I think it works so well. But I will admit it is a very strange vocal line, but very unique and very, very cool, I think. And the solos in this song. I mean, when it gets to the section where it's just the bass, and then the guitars come in and they're dueling the guitars, and then we get into the solo section where we have Dave Murray with the first two solos. He has the one where it's slow before it gets into the section, and then the first one after that, and then Dennis Stratton has the last solo in the song. But really the standout for me is the bass. And the bass in the song is awesome. I mean, it's so good. And then there's probably 4 or 5 really amazing different riffs in this song. I mean, this really is Maiden firing at all cylinders. The first major epic in their catalog. And honestly, even to this day, with 17 studio albums, one of the best songs they have ever made. I know a lot of people who don't like more modern Maiden. Really, some of the songs are too long and too slow for them. I personally love modern Maiden. I'm a huge prog fan, so I don't have any problem with long songs. But they're like, oh, Maiden just didn't used to be like this. They didn't used to make songs like this. And I'm like, and whenever they say that, I'm just saying, I mean, they've been making epics since their very first album. I mean, Phantom of the Opera is such an epic song, and I get it doesn't really start slow, but it's still a builder song. It starts fast, but then it builds up even more throughout the entire song. And then even like in their 80s, they have multiple songs that are nearly 10 minutes. So some even over. So I mean, Phantom of the Opera is just such an epic song. I mean, that's the word to describe it, is epic. It's so good, and especially to think that these guys were like teenagers when they wrote this. It's just, man, they were so young to be writing music this amazing. And I think this shows that from the very beginning they were very special, and they knew that they were going to make it big, and they had the skills to get there. So my number 1, Phantom of the Opera. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Let me know your list down below in the comments, how you would rank the songs on Iron Maiden by Iron Maiden. This album for me is awesome. I mentioned in the review that I would give this an 8 out of 10 in the Maiden catalog. I think this album is amazing. Every song is great, so if you don't agree with my ranking, that's okay. Let me know why you don't, and we can have a nice discussion down in the comments. But yeah, I mean, it's so good. But thank you for watching. I will be moving on to the Killers review next, so keep a lookout for that. But until next time, up the irons.